Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafter, welcome to my channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today we're going to make a card and we're using the Love From Lizi July 2024 card kit and it's called Sweet Summer. This is a beautiful kit. It is full of colour and full of product and I'm really enjoying crafting with it. So I hope you'll join me now as we flip the camera down to the desk and make a card together. As you can see, I have everything out on the table that we're going to be using for this card. So this is card 2. If you haven't seen card 1, I leave a link to it down in the description so you can pop there and have a look after you've finished watching this. And I'm going to start with going through the card base. So this is an A4 sheet of cardstock that I've used. I've left it at 11 3/4 and I've cut it down to 5 7/8. Now I've also scored this on the long side at 5 7/8 and that's going to give me a 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 card. So it's just shy of 6 by 6. I have some shop bought card blanks and matching envelopes in my stash. And all the cards seem to be the shorter this size and the envelopes are 6 by 6. So it means I can use those envelopes in my stash. But if you have an envelope maker and you have 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock, you know, you can make your card base to size that you like. Next, I have a piece of gold cardstock and this piece measures 5.5 by 5.5 and it's going to sit in there. And then I have a piece of lovely pattern paper from the kit and this piece measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So they're going to mat and layer on there like so. Now, if you've seen card 1 already, you'll know I've used these lovely label dies. They're a nesting die set available on the Love From Lizi website. On the first card, I used a die to die cut out this panel. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this in card 2. I would like to have a gold frame going around it. So I've taken the next die up. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to gut this cardstock and die cut out my panel from here. Once this then sits on top, no one will know that's been taken out. Well, no one other than you, if you're watching, you know. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save my cardstock by gutting that out and I'll use that die. So that's the label dies that I've used. I'm also going to use the Sweet Summer stamp set that we got in the kit. I'm going to use the Hello Sunshine for the front of this. And I've taken my stamp and my scissors. And what I've done is I kind of do this, I stretch the stamp a little bit so I can cut out. I want this as 2 centimeters and I'll show you why in a minute. If you don't like doing this with your stamps, then what you can do is use a bit of masking tape or washi tape, low tack tape. Just cover up the sunshine part, stamp the ink on the hello, then take off your washi tape or post-it tape, whatever you've used, and you'll be able to just stamp the hello on its own. And the same with the sunshine. If you cover up the hello, put your ink on the sunshine, remove whatever you covered the hello with, you'll be able to just stamp the sunshine. For me, it's a bit too much faffing. I'm just as happy to cut my stamps because they nestle back nicely into each other like so, so I can stamp it as all as one piece next time when I want to. So I'm going to stamp, I do apologise, somebody has just drove past the house, which is a long way from the road, but Ghost likes to let me know if anyone comes within the vicinity of the house. Yeah, so I'm going to use the whole sentiment in 2 parts. And the reason for that is because I want to use the die that came in the kit. Now I've already die cut out this lovely, I don't know, what would you call it, a border, but I just think this is so classy. So I've die cut it out. You might see this little round one here and the little round one here. It die cuts out tiny hearts and I've saved them I've saved them in the gold that I've cut it out in, and when I die cut out this piece for the unboxing, I put my little pink ones in there as well. So I'm going to use these to embellish the card, but this piece is going to go across here. I'm going to artfully and tastefully pop that on there, and it'll sit astride our piece. And then I'm going to stamp the hello above and the summer below, and this piece will go through. Now I could put it behind like that and just stamp the hello summer without cutting my stamp, but you don't get to see all the lovely die, so I'm putting it on top. And then for a finish, I have the stamp set that came in the March kit, and this is the Vintage Escapes March 2024 kit, and I love these sentiments. I'll take it out of the little wallet that I've put it in. The sentiments on this are: I am just a call away, you are thought about, I am thinking about you, you are loved, you are missed wherever you are. So I thought I would have hello sunshine, and then inside you are thought about, or I'm thinking about you. Well, it really just depends when I get to that point on what I decide to do, but I will be stamping one of these sentiments on the inside. And then I'm going to embellish the inside using the sticker sheet, this one here. I'm going to take a matching little banner, this one here, and I'm going to, or is it this one? One of these two, I'm going to stick this inside my card with my stamp sentiment, and that'll be lovely. So that's all the bits and pieces that I have there. Let's go ahead now and do a little bit of die cutting, stamping and assembly. So I have my gold panel here with the die in the middle of it. I'm going to take a piece of copy paper, just regular printer paper, and I'm going to pop that over my panel. I'll put that into my die cutting machine, and then I'll die cut that. And the reason I'm putting the computer paper on it is just to protect the gold card. So let's have a look now and see. And that way it doesn't get too marked once I have that on. So I can pop that off. I've used some low tack tape, so it shouldn't take any of the gold paper off, which it hasn't. And I just like to stick it back onto the top of my die cutting machine, and that way then I can use it again. So I'll move that out of the way now. So I have my panel and I have my die cut panel here, so I can layer those two together, and I can pop this one over the top, and that's perfect. You won't even know that that was done. And it's weird, both of these are cut nicely to size. The gold is 5.5 and the pattern paper is 1/4. And sometimes when I put it on, I find that it's not, I might have 3 sides even, but the 4th side isn't. Sometimes if you just turn your paper around, you'll find that it sits in perfectly. So you might see me doing that sometimes and think, why are you turning it? It's a square. Well, sometimes they just fit better when you do. So that's there. That then will sit on there like that. And I'm going to kind of put it to the middle and over to the left-hand side like that. And then I have my lovely little die cut that's going to go in the middle. So what I want to do now is some stamping on this panel. So I'm going to bring in my stamp positioner and I'm going to set that up to do a little bit of stamping. So I have my little piece in position. If you have this stamping platform, you'll find that 3 sides of this is just, there's no edge. There are ruler marks along this top. What I did was I took a little piece of acetate, the width of that ruler piece, and I've just stuck that down using some double-sided tape. I find then that this gives me an edge, but I can also put my cardstock, etc. over it. But it means every time that I want to go in, I have an edge there that I can utilize. especially if the cardstock lifts up and I need to put it back into place. I just find that that helps me. So my little panel will be something like that. I want my sunshine down here. And I want my hello up here. And then once I have this in place, then my banner will sit over the top. So I think I'm happy with that. I think that looks all right. So I'm just going to add my magnets onto that. And then I can lift those up and make sure that they are straight. Okay, the hello one fell off. Okay, and they're both on there nicely. And I think they're straight enough. That's fine for me. So I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair. I love to use the Nocturne when I'm using a black ink. I find all the VersaFine Clair inks are brilliant. They stay wet a little bit longer than some other inks, but I find that great if I want to do a little bit of embossing. If I wanted to put some clear embossing powder on that, it would work brilliantly for doing that. I also find the VersaFine Clair inks give such a good stamping. I didn't prep this stamp. I should have actually cleaned it before I started, and I didn't do that, so I'm giving it a second stamping. But it just gives it, it's a nice, really deep, dark black. Printer's black comes to mind. But yeah, I love this. So I'm just allowing the time for the ink to seep into the paper. A lot of time you'll see people and they're stamping and they go down, give it a rub and lift off. I just find you know, give the ink time to transfer from your stamp onto your paper. And you'll get a better printing regardless of what style of stamp you use. But there we go. I'm delighted with that. Now we could put a little bit of embossing powder on that and heat that up if we wanted. I think, you know, it gives a lovely shiny look, but I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to go with that as it is. So I'm going to move that out of the way now and we'll do a little bit of assembly. So I'll bring in all my pieces. Now, I didn't put any dimension on the last card, but I'm going to put some dimension on this card. I do love a bit of dimension on my cards, and it doesn't really cost much extra in postage here in Ireland, but depending on where you are, you might decide that you don't want to, you know, put dimension on it. So you don't have to if you don't want to. I will need to stamp a sentiment inside, and I will do that later. So right now I'm going to use my collal glue and I'm going to do a little bit of gluing. First of all, I'm going to glue this down onto my card base, and then I'm going to use some double-sided tape to stick my pattern paper to this gold metallic card. I just find that using glue with metallic cards, sometimes it can pop off. I would think that the collal glue being a solvent glue, it probably would stick better than just a PVA or a white glue, but I like to be sure. I keep my cards, I don't post them straight away. I don't make a card to send a card. So sometimes my cards can be set here for maybe a year before it's used, or one of the family members comes in and decides they want it. So what I do, I like to make sure that it's stuck down. I'm going to add my little stamping block down on that just to ensure that that sticks, and I'm going to add some double-sided tape to my pattern paper. So I'm going to add that down now, and you could use a little bit of liquid glue just as a buffer. So I'm going to add some of the collal glue in between, and it'll give me a little bit of wiggle room putting this down, because I'm always in dread of my life. When I use double-sided tape, I put it down, it'll stick, and that'll be it. There'll be no coming back. So if you have a little liquid glue, you can use that as well. So I'm just going to stand over it, and I think that's good. Look, it's a handmade card. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, perfect is great if you can achieve it, but you know, it's not necessary. Okay, so we have that on there. Next, I'm going to add this piece. Now, like I said, if you have stamping you want to do inside, you can do it now. I like to live life dangerously, but I will be using my stamping platform, so I'm quite happy to do that in a minute. I want to add some foam tape onto. So now I have that on there, and again I will use a little bit of my collal glue. Now this will mean that my little die cut strip will be lifted up off the card base, but I think that will look really cool. So I'll just make sure that I'm going to bring it down a little bit closer. I have put some liquid glue on that to give me a bit of wiggle room. I think that's fine. Yeah, I like that. So we have a little bit of dimension there. And then this I'm going to glue straight down onto my panel. And we can pop that on there. And then I'm going to use some of my quick grab glue. And I'm using a little bit of Craft Stash quick grab glue. I'm only going to put glue where the strip is going to touch onto my raised panel. So I'll just put dabs of glue on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to just flip that over, and I'm going to pop that down. Now I want to make sure that it is somewhat straight. And I want to make sure that this is not too far off the other edge of the card base. And what I like about this glue is that even if I move it around and there's a little bit of residue, this will dry clear. It won't leave a tacky residue on it. You won't even notice it. So I love that. I'm going to just cut off that little corner there, just so it doesn't catch when it goes into my envelope. The recipient won't even know, so don't even tell them. Sure you won't. And I love that. I'm going to put my stamping block down on top, and I'm just going to give that now a minute for the quick grab glue to grab onto that. And while that is doing that, I'm going to bring back out my stamping platform, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment inside and embellish inside, and once I've that done I can embellish the outside. So now I have my stamp just set down on my card base, and my card base is off the stamping platform. That way the raised piece on the foam there is sitting off to the side, so this is laying nice and flat. I've put my "you are thought about" here because I figure if I'm sending this to someone, I can put the person's name up here, Then it'll have the "you are thought about," and I can then put all my little message down below with my "with love, Simone" on it. So that's why I'm placing it there. You could place it in the middle or wherever you like, but that's where I'm going to place mine. So I want to pick up the stamp now and see that it is straight. And that looks straight enough. I write wonky anyway, so I don't think it makes much of a difference. I'm going to put some of my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink onto that and then stamp it down. This stamp has been used before, so it's seasoned. So I know it's going to give me a beautiful stamping. I'm going to take a fine line pen, and what I like to do then is 3 little dots after that. So it's, you know, it's not the end of the conversation. If there was a full stop, that would mean that you are thought about. That's it. But with the 3 dots, it's like you are thought about, and, you know, so hence the reason why I do that. So now we have that, and I know it looks a little bit wonky, but I don't mind because I write on a wonk anyway, and it's handmade. I just had this thing when I was starting off. Everything had to be straight. Everything had to be perfect. And it used to give me anxiety. And then I stopped being that way and I have less anxiety. So that works for me. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of the little banners that we've got. And like I said, I'm going to pick up the paper. So I'm going to go with this little banner here. And I'm going to pop that just up in the top corner here. And I'm kind of going to give it the same distance, more or less, all around. I'm going to take one of my little gold hearts. And I'm just going to put one there. And I will need my little pickup tool. So we'll use that one. I'll grab one of the little hearts and just pop that down. Now I may have put a little bit too much glue on there. That's all right because it'll dry clear and it won't leave a tacky residue. So I have one in there, and then on the outside I'm going to do another few. So I think I'll put one here at the tail of the hello. I'm going to put one here at the bottom of the sunshine. I'll do those 2 first. And we know that when we're adding little embellishments like this, we do them in odd numbers because that's more satisfying to the eye when we do that. Apparently, I don't know who made that rule up or made that decision, but I'm sticking by it. So I want to do another 2, one there and maybe one here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think I'll do another one there. So some of these are flicked over the wrong way. This is the fun part, getting them to sit the right way up. And I love this part. This to me is the best part, the little finishing touches that we do on our cards. I think it sets it apart, you know, eventually. There we go. Lovely. So now I'll put my little glue pin into my bottle so my drink doesn't, or my glue doesn't go hard. So there we are. There is card 2, our Hello Sunshine card, and I just love this card. Again, it's another nice and simple card. There is a little bit of dimension on it. We've used the pattern papers from the kit. We've used the sentiment Hello Sunshine from the kit. We've also used our die to bring focal down into our Hello Sunshine sentiment, and we have one of the little banners there at the top, and a sentiment from another kit. If you're a subscriber and you have some of the kits, I love to go through the other kits to see is there sentiments that'll work before I go to any other sentiments from other creators. I tend to do that. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Blonde Cards and Crafts, and don't forget to ding the bell. That way you'll be notified when I post another card. The link to card 1, if you haven't seen it, is down in the description, along with Lizi's website, where you can access a beautiful new website Lizi has set up. It's so easy to go around the website. I'll also leave a link there for the subscriptions if you're interested in that, a link to the other design team members who are going to be making cards using this kit, and also to the Love From Lizi Facebook group, as well as my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. We'd love to see your makes using the products on our Facebook groups. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there, folks, until the next time and the next card. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.